We finally know when we can get our hands on all of that glorious old world content. Plus, we get to take a look at some brand new Dark Angels miniatures, as well as some miniatures that we haven't gotten fully revealed, but Games Workshop sure likes to tease us. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. My name is Angela, and you're watching Hobby Night. Happy New Year, everybody, and boy, is it going to be a grand 2024, because from Games Workshop, we have already gotten some major news. We officially know now when we can pre-order and then pick up in stores the old world content that they have been previewing to us all through 2023. Now, I have two videos that I want us to watch. One hyping us up over the Bretonnians, which is the faction that I have chosen to run as we go into the old world, as well as the Tomb Kings, which is what the Chaos Cultist is taking over. And we have some additional news as well, just a bunch of miniatures to look at. So there's a lot to go through. Let's go ahead and gush about both of these factions.
Honor is all. Chivalry is all.
I'm so ready for this game to be out. Oh my gosh.
It is a time of strife, of legend and war. Across the old world, mighty monarchs and powerful warlords raise glorious armies.
And I will be one of them.
Hordes without number. Bretonia is a land of chivalry, where the earth trembles with the
They look
thunder
so
of
good.
galloping hooves as noble
Now, I have to
knights
admit, the
charge
reason that I
to war.
chose Bretonnians,
These
because I
gallant
really actually
warriors
like
are among
both
the
factions
finest
a
in the world,
huge amount,
and are
is because
accompanied into battle by
Bretonnians,
the
I thought,
humble peasant
offered a
of the
slightly
realm.
more unique opportunity
All bound
than the Tomb
together by
Kings.
an
The
unshakable
Bretonnians,
faith
I
in
think,
their
allow for a
beloved
lot more
goddess,
freehand
the
and design
Lady.
work. While I think the Tomb Kings
When
still have
darkness
opportunities for that,
presses in,
I just
it
feel like
is
because of all of the
these
heraldry
bold
of
heroes
the
who
knights
sally forth,
and the various
proving
multicolor
the
tones
kingdom
on
of
all of their
Bretonia
like
to
cloaks
be
and
one
like
of the
everything on the
last
horses
true
and all of the
bastions of
shields and all
honor,
of that stuff.
courage,
I really
and
want to
virtue
try
in the
just doing
world
more
of
with freehand.
legend.
And the
Wherever
Bretonnians
evil
strike
stalks
me
the
as
land,
leading
the
into
knights of
that
Bretonia
improvement
will
like I
quest
want
out
to.
to
So
defeat
I
it.
am
In
so
the name
pumped
of the Lady.
to actually work for this. And yes, in fact, ride out in the honor of the Lady. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so very good. Now, the other thing that I wanted to watch, of course, is the video about the Tomb Kings. Now, this is what the Chaos Cultist is ultimately going to end up running, and I'm sure that a lot of you might end up running them as well. And you know what? In fact, I want to know down in the comments, are you planning on running Bretonnians? Are you planning on running Tomb Kings? Or the third option, are you running your previous old world army? Because I feel like a lot of people have been talking about just busting out whatever they previously had for the old world. But now let's watch a little bit of a lore video about the Tomb Kings, who are also amazing. And honestly, I still kind of really want to run. I want to run both, but I will have both in the house. It's fine. Let's watch this video.
Beneath the moon's
God, they look so
pale
cool.
gaze, the dead
Look at their skelly faces.
march to war. It is a time of strife,
Yeah.
of legend and war.
You're damn right it
Across
is.
the old world, mighty monarchs and powerful warlords raise glorious armies and grim hordes without number. Ancient and vengeful, the Tomb Kings of the southern deserts have awoken from untold ages of
I
sin.
am a little jealous that he gets to paint some of these
Filled
bone
with the
boys,
wrath
though.
of
I
the
will
cheated.
admit. There are some very cool
Generations
models
of mighty
in both
moves
armies.
were promised an
Like this one!
eternity,
Oh, it's so
but
glorious.
instead found themselves imprisoned between life and death.
Yes!
Now,
I do love the
Vast
undead.
legions
So
of
very
skeletal
much.
soldiers rise from beneath the arid sands of ancient Nehekara.
I do
called by
also
the
really hope,
incantations of
just to
lich
like call it out,
priests,
I want
the
a
immortal
new
ritualists
Cetra
of the
model.
Tomb Kings.
Good lord, that would be
These
amazing. I don't know if he's
undead
around at
armies
this time, but I think he
slaughter
might be.
any foolish
Because I know this is a
enough
slightly
to
different time
intrude on
period from like the
distant
previous
reaches
old world, but
of
like
their
Cetra would be so
forgotten
cool.
empire, while their masters seek to once more expand their borders, marching forth.
I
to
love the
conquer
horses.
The living world.
I mean, I'm gonna have
of
plenty of
legend.
horses to paint, but the
Woe
undead ones are
betide
cool too.
those who think the time of the Tomb Kings has passed.
No one thinks the time of the Tomb Kings has passed. Games Workshop thought the time of the Tomb Kings had passed, and then they were told no. They were like, We want more. We want more. So, as I mentioned, we know when these games are actually going to hit shelves now. January 20th. That is when you can find them in Games Workshop stores, ideally your friendly local game shop. But when is pre-order happening? January 6th. That is when you're going to start being able to pre-order these glorious new miniatures. And my goodness, is there a lot to potentially pre-order? Because of course we have the core sets, which I'm going to be getting the Bretonnian one. Chaos Cultist will be getting the Tomb King one. We also have, of course, the core rulebook and everything that you need to get started with playing. And good lord, it is a thick rulebook. I am curious to see what percentage actually of this book ends up being lore versus actual rules, because I feel like it's gonna be 90% lore and then 10% actual rules, because that's generally how Games Workshop's rulebooks work. But if it's filled to the brim with also glorious artwork to go alongside all that lore, I will be a very, very, very extremely happy lady. But we have other things to look at, because we don't just have those books and everything that we want to be getting. We have some additional models that may not be coming in the actual set that are also going to become available for pre-order, like this Royal Pegasus with his standard bearer, which again, I'm really that flag is a perfect opportunity for some cool freehand. I have no idea yet what I'm going to actually do for my heraldry for the Hobby Knights, because yes, they will be the Hobby Knights, dang it. Everything that has knights in it will be tied to the channel because the name works. It just works. But I'm really excited for these guys. I love the Pegasuses. They're great. The Grail Knights, this is where I'm going to have so much fun with color and just playing with different designs, because they all are unique. And I want to have some really just fun times with making them wild and having this really eclectic looking army. I think that's one of the things that really excites me about the Bretonnians, is they do get to be a little bit more eclectic than some of the other armies, which tend to be a little bit more homogenized sometimes, which is not necessarily a knock on them. I just like the opportunity to be able to play, because sometimes when I'm painting, especially troops, I can get bored. And having the opportunity to play with a bunch of different colors helps me get less bored. And so I'm just hoping that it really brings these models to life for me. Also, we've got some Battle Pilgrims and some Grail Reliquaries, which look honestly horrifying, and I love them. Look at their just nasty faces. Also, his jacket, I love it. But these guys are fantastic. I really like the look of them. It's lovely to see all the square bases back. We've got some basic Yeoman, or Yemen? Is that how it's pronounced? I don't actually know. I think it's called Yemen. So the Yemen Command and the Mounted Yemen, they look fantastic. The Handmaiden of the Lady. Honestly, okay, out of all of the Bretonnian models, just to call this out for myself personally, the ladies, the handmaidens, are the ones of all the models that I'm least interested in. I'm gonna have some obviously in my army. I think they're gonna end up probably being relatively powerful, but on a just visual scale on the models, they're very, very delicate, very lovely. But beyond that, they're really not that interesting to me. I don't think their poses are that interesting. And while their outfits are cool, they're just, I don't know. It's my least favorite. The ladies are my least favorite, but the knights, the knights are so good, and I'm looking forward to them. Especially this questing paladin, because if you guys have ever watched any of the times where I used to play, oh my god, what is the game? Creative Assembly makes it. Why can't I remember? Total War. I couldn't think of the word Total War for a second. If you've ever watched my Total War Warhammer 2 playthroughs, when I would play Silostra, I always end up getting the Bretonnian, ghost guy, and he looked like him. And I'm gonna paint mine kind of that's how I want to paint my guy when I get one of these. It's gonna be so cool. We have, of course, special dice, a whole bunch of things. We've got the Tomb King book as well, and then we have a bunch of glorious Tomb King models, which again, I am a little jealous to not be able to paint. Maybe Chaos Cultist will still let me paint them, especially these boys. I really want to be painting the Necropolis Knights. I think they're so cool. They were so cool in Total War Warhammer. They're badass looking. And I really love the color scheme they've gone with them. That black and burgundy, really, really sleek. Also, the Necrosphinxes, just beautiful, lovely, lovely boys. The knights, or the, Cetra. Oh my gosh, we do get a Cetra. I think I had missed the announcement of Cetra the Imperishable. He's amazing. I really like him. Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe Chaos Cultist will let me paint up his scepter for him so I can do like a really just detailed paint job on him. I think it'd be a really cool challenge. Oh, I'm so jealous. Okay, love seeing that. The Lich Priest is cool. The Ushapti. Oh, look at their little masks. So good. They're so good. I love the Tomb Kings. You must be thinking right now, why is she not doing Tomb Kings? I really love the Bretonnians, but I had not seen some of these Tomb Kings. And I feel like we haven't got as many, like we haven't got a new Trebuchet, for example, for the Bretonnians. And I want to see some of that stuff come in because I think those are some of the other exciting things outside of just the knights when it comes to Bretonnia. And we're lacking that a little bit. Whereas like the Ushapti are really cool for the Tomb Kings. Love seeing it. And of course we have just a Tomb King, a battle standard bearer. Our standards are better. I'm throwing that out there. I'm throwing that shade out there at the Tomb Kings. Bretonnian battle standards are better. We have bigger banners. They flow more. They're beautiful. We're on horses with them. It's great. It is lovely. I'm just rambling at this point because I really want to keep talking about these models. These are also really cool. I love the Tomb Swarms. We don't really get any swarm models in the Bretonnians either. Listen, the point is there's a lot coming out and is all up for pre-order come January 6th. Do let me know down in the comments, what of all of the Tomb King and or Bretonnian content are you planning on picking up? Or like I said, are you planning on just busting out whatever you used to run when you played Warhammer Fantasy Battles back in the day? Now, we aren't done talking about the old world. I'm sorry to say. We've gushed about all the miniatures, but let's take a little bit of a look at how the game's actually going to play. Now that I am done, gushing about all of the new miniatures that we know are coming out January 20th, let's actually watch the short video that Games Workshop put together talking about how the game is actually played when it comes to Warhammer, the old world.
It is a time of battle and strife, of
Indeed
looming
it is.
darkness and fleeting glory. It is a world of legend, a stage for mighty heroes,
Yes.
bold deeds, and untamed magic.
And undead hordes.
This is a rank and flank game, featuring many elements of classic Warhammer, the game of fantasy battles. If
Yay!
you've played any miniatures tabletop wargame, you'll find elements of Warhammer the Old World familiar. You'll play several rounds, each made up of 4 distinct phases.
Which we've gone over on the
In
channel
the
a little
strategy
bit.
phase, you'll unleash powerful abilities, both magical and tactical. Your commanders can inspire their followers. Your wizards can enchant allies or hex enemies, and you can try to rally any fleeing troops. Movement in the old world is crucial.
Yes.
Careful maneuvering of your powerful but ponderous infantry blocks, lining up pivotal cavalry charges, and making sure your heroes are where they need to be. This is where the battle is really won and lost.
She's
When
so
shooting,
not
your
wrong.
forces unleash
Like,
hell on enemies
genuinely,
at a distance.
movement I think is the most
Whether they are
important
armed
phase.
with slings and arrows, black powder weapons, or calling forth the winds of magic.
She is so
Combat in
pretty.
the old world, whether it is ranged or melee, uses the classic Warhammer system. Roll to hit, roll to wound,
Woo!
and then make saves. The outcome of each combat is decided by casualties caused, as well as morale, discipline, and sheer weight of numbers. The losing
course.
units must then give ground, fall back, or flee like cowards.
Like
their
cowards!
spirits broken. That's just a taste of how
Ugh.
Warhammer the Old World works. So
Sorry, she had a little
muster
bit-
your army.
I will
March
I will
to
muster
battle
my army, don't
and
worry.
claim victory in the world of legend.
Yeah! I will. And here's the thing. I really want to go back to the fact that she talked about movement being the most important phase because I never got to play the original fantasy battles from back in the day. I collected a small amount of Chaos Warriors as an army, and that was about it. Painted like none of them. Just built a few of them, and that's all that happened. But every time I spoke to anybody about the old game, they always talked about the thing that always ended up losing them the game is generally, if it wasn't just like wild magic shenanigans happening because of like just Nuffle betraying them and terrible dice rolls happening, it was because of the movement phase. Like, the movement phase is just where I think things are really pivotal. And when she comes down and says that it's where you win and you lose, if you have yourself in a position that you get flanked, it can be so devastating from my understanding in this game. And if they have maintained that, I'm so excited because I want to experience and like learn how to actually think about movement in a different way. Because I feel like with 40K, it's a very different thought process for where you're moving things. Even though I do think in Warhammer 40K as well, movement is also a very pivotal position. I think setup is also your like main area where you really want to get your strengths at and like just really nail down your initial like setup. But movement is also just super important. And I love that they're calling that out here because they're really trying to make it important and just show people like this is a game where this really, really matters. And I just cannot wait. Let me know down in the comments, which phase are you most terrified to have to relearn how to deal with when it comes to the old world? And also, how excited are you for this game? Because I am so ready. Hey guys, just jumping into the video to remind you to hit that subscribe button and bell icon for notifications so you never miss future content on the channel. And if you're into the spicier side of the hobby, you can find a link to my Only Fanatics down in the link tree below in the description. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the video. All right, we have spent way too much time in this news episode talking about the old world. As much as I love it, let's talk about some Warhammer 40K because we didn't just get a bunch of old world announcements from Games Workshop over this last week. No, we got some glorious new announcements for 40K, and let's watch the video because I think the video just does it justice. We, of course, have some brand new Dark Angels, and they look beautiful. Look at them! Terminators. I love Terminators, but we also have Deathwing Knights. And new Inner Circle! Woo! So good. It's gonna be great. I mean, we've seen the Lion. He's also fantastic. We got him in 2023, but we have plenty of new things coming to us for the Dark Angels in 2024. Now, the thing that I am most excited about is a lot of those new models are going to be coming in a box set that we'll be talking about briefly. But what you may have noticed in that trailer is that we have a brand new Master of the Deathwing, Belial. He looks stunning. Just look at this model. That upright skeleton is my favorite thing about this entire model. It's beautiful. It's perfect. I love the cloak. I love the backpack. I love all of the emblems on them. Like, Dark Angels have a very specific look in the same way that I think the Night Lords have a very specific look. And I think with all of these new models that Games Workshop has been showcasing for the Dark Angels, they've been nailing that aesthetic. I just think this model looks fantastic. Now, he comes alongside some new Deathwing Knights, which are also beautiful, and we'll take a look at them. You saw them a little bit in the trailer, but I want to also showcase the new Inner Circle because these boys, I love the swords. I love the color of their robes. I love this banner. Oh my God, it's so good. Like, everything about these boys is pretty much fantastic. And I'm realizing I have a problem. Actually, I'm realizing I realized why I like the Dark Angels so much. They're also knights, and I'm obsessed with the Bretonnians right now for the same reason of like, they get a lot of shields and get to do a lot of things with heraldry, and they have swords. And oh my God, I'm definitely gonna have to start a Dark Angels army is really what I'm learning, especially with all these cool new miniatures because they just look stunning. Now, on top of the new Inner Circle, we also are getting some upgrade sprues that allow us to customize and make some of these models a little bit more specific to being Dark Angels. And frankly, I love that because, again, much like I just said a little bit earlier ago, the Dark Angels have a very unique look when it comes to their Space Marine heraldry and everything that they're doing with their armor. And I think that really stands out, and I love seeing Games Workshop actually support that. Now, in addition to that, we have a box set. where we can actually get some of these new models. And as you can see, we've got a bunch of new Terminators in here. We have, of course, the new Deathwing Knights with their shields looking absolutely amazing. I wish we had closer images of them, but this is really the only image they gave us as far as I have seen. I think there might be some other ones elsewhere, but not in this article. But we're getting the Deathwing Assault book, or not book, but box set. It also comes with Belial. So if you want to wait and get him along with the Knights as well as some new Terminators all at once, you'll probably want to wait for when this set comes out. But unfortunately, we don't know when the set is coming out. My suspicion is, though, it'll be when the Codex comes out, which, if I had to reason any guesses, it's probably going to be the next Codex to come out. Perhaps maybe in February or March, maybe. I don't know if they're going to necessarily overlap a Dark Angels release, which is very Knight heavy, with an Old World release. So I am kind of thinking probably in February is when we'll see this, but it's very enticing, and I might have to start like my first Space Marine army in many, many years. And that'll be weird. That'll be weird for me, and especially since it won't be an iteration of Blood Angels. Oh, it'll be great though, and I really do like the look of these Dark Angel models. Games Workshop likes to do these silhouetted teases of some upcoming models, and they put together a little video that consists of a few of them, as well as a lot of the models that came out over this past year. So I thought we'd watch it together and speculate on what we think the 3 models at the end might be. I'm also curious how many of you picked up a lot of the models they showcase here. Like, I never ended up getting Anagron, as much as he would have been a really cool model to pick up. I also haven't picked up Lionel Johnson yet, but I might be, because with all those Dark Angels coming out, oh boy. I did grab Leviathan, because I started my Tyranid army, which I still love. I wasn't super impressed with Emotech, I'm not gonna lie. Now this is what I'm interested in, because we have 3 models here, and that middle one, man. That middle one I am so hyped for. Okay, so we need to talk about these models. We need to talk about these models. We're going to talk about that one in a second. Now, this is the one that I'm incredibly intrigued by, because at first glance, that definitely looks like he's holding a Guardian Spear, which makes me think Custodian, as well as the eagle that we see right here on the top of his head. I really feel like that's very Custodian to me. But if you look at his legs, there's something about the scale of this model, and I don't know if it's just because they're looking up at him or what's going on, but I'm also getting very strong Votann vibes. Like, he looks sort of squat. And so I don't know. This is the one I'm most curious about, and the one I know the least of what I think it's going to be. I do ultimately think it's just going to be some sort of named character Custodian, possibly Kitten. That would be really, really cool. But I'm actually unsure about what this one is going to be. The other 2 I think are a bit more obvious, because oh my god, that's a Kroot. That is a Kroot. That is a Kroot, and I am so excited. Okay, I saw this video an hour after I had been talking with somebody online, complaining to them, going, man, I really like the Tau lore-wise, because I think it's really fascinating that they're a amalgamation of a variety of different Xeno races all come together to support one, like, you know, ideal and everything like that. But the miniatures for the Tau never embrace that, really. Like, we get occasionally, like, you got, like, I think a Kroot model in Blackstone Fortress, and there may have been some, like, other random other alien races that are part of the Tau faction, but are just, like, random one-offs. I hope this is not a random one-off. Please, please, Games Workshop, let this be a kit that is a full unit of, like, Kroot riders. I don't know what this is. I don't know enough about the Tau to know, like, exactly what this is, but gosh darn it, I'm so excited for the Kroot. And then finally, the last model that we got to take a look at. I mean, if this isn't super obvious, I really don't know what is, but I mean, it's to me, it's a mech boy. Like, it has to be some sort of new mech boy model. You can see the wrenches right there on the banner. As far as I remember, these, like, big guns are more mech boy things, and he's got, I think, a power claw as well. So I feel like we're looking at mech boys, Kroot, which just I'm so excited for, and then potentially some sort of Custodian and or Votann. I don't know. You tell me down in the comments below.
All right, that has been it for the first news of the new year. We got to take a look at a lot of Warhammer content, and don't worry if you're worried that I'm not going to be covering non-Warhammer content. Don't. I will be. We're going to be covering some of that next week. I am really excited about the Old World stuff coming out, so do let me know down in the comments what army you're going to be running. In the meantime, I do want to give a final thank you to both my patrons as well as my YouTube members for supporting the channel and helping content like this continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we just would not be doing this, so thank you very, very much. I have been Angela. I hope you have a wonderful new year, as well as a lovely hobby night.